When we last left off Locked On MLB, the lockout was over and baseball was getting down to business. Well, there was a lot of business being done, including a trade that just happened minutes ago. We're bringing in Ethan Smith of Locked On Pirates to help us talk about it. This is Locked On MLB.
You are Locked On MLB, your daily MLB podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans. Welcome to Locked On MLB, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day. This is the daily podcast. We talk about all of Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please, as you see from my lower third, you can call me Sully. This episode is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online has you covered this season with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. Bet Online is where the game starts. And thanks so much for making us your first listen, as we're available on all your free podcasting catchers. You can follow us on Twitter at LockedOnMLBPods. Same handle for Instagram. I'm your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Well, look, it is late Sunday night here in California, and a lot of stuff was happening at once. And you know what? This is too big a show to just be yapping by myself. The last time I did a show was with H-Town Wheelhouse, where we both talked about how wonderful it was that baseball is back. But now comes the reality, and now comes the flurry of moves. Hey, let's bring on board Ethan Smith of Locked On Pirates to join the show. How you doing, buddy?
Doing all right. I mean, it's fun to see everybody else in Major League Baseball do things except my team right now. That's what I'm here for. I'm always here to talk about other things.
By the way, Ethan Smith joined the Locked On Podcast Network in 2020, if I'm not mistaken. Late 2020, was it?
Yeah, it was right before the expanded playoffs started.
Right, which the Pirates did not participate in. And I think you've done a terrific job with the show. So if you've not listened to Locked On Pirates, it's a great show. There's a lot of humor in it. There's some of it's gallows humor. But and as you well know, the Pirates have a very, very soft spot in my heart, especially because the first World Series I ever watched was 79.
Yeah.
And I'm doing so much research on my 72 postseason book, which includes reading lots of materials about the glory days of the Pirates. And may there be some more glory days ahead. But hey, every team except the Pirates seem to be making moves. So maybe you are the ideal sort of what's the little word I'm looking for? Neutral party that it takes to be part of this. Let's talk about the big move that just happened maybe 15 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That the Yankees and the Twins pulled off a blockbuster deal. Isiah Kiner-Falefa, who had just been acquired by Minnesota from the Texas Rangers, was sent along with Josh Donaldson and Josh Donaldson's $50 million contract. And Ben Rortvedt, I think it's Rortvedt. I'm going to go to baseballreference.com, single website, the history of planet Earth. And there they have the pronunciations. It's Rortvedt. Rortvedt. And who knows, he may become the next great Yankee star. He played 39 games, 23-year-old catcher for the Minnesota Twins. He's off to the Bronx. And the Yankees are sending Gary Sanchez. Remember Gary Sanchez? He was going to be the next great, huge superstar. He got MVP votes in 2017. He was runner-up of the rookie year in 2016. Was going to be the great face of the franchise. Made 2 All-Star teams, thank you very much. He's now a Minnesota Twin. And for me, really surprisingly, Gio Urshela was acquired. And he's off there. And Josh Donaldson and Kiner-Falefa have gone. What are your thoughts about that, Ethan Smith?
Honestly, I was just surprised to see that they're taking on his entire contract. As soon as I found that out, I was like, wow, I understand it's the Yankees and they can take on that $50 million, but now you're talking about an infield that, I mean, you're going to have right now, Gleyber Torres, Kiner-Falefa, Donaldson, and DJ LeMahieu. Do you really want DJ LeMahieu starting at first base every single day? That's a big question for Yankees fans.
Well, if we were going to ask a question like this for a Yankee fan, I've got a Yankee fan who is joining us, crashing the podcast.
Oh, here we go.
From Locked On Yankees, welcome Stacey Gotsulias.
From the rafters.
Stacey, you are not a neutral party in this, like Ethan and I. This is finally the Yankees got the move they've wanted, where they finally got the shortstop with all these great shortstops available. Corey Seager, Marcus Semien, Trevor Story, Javier Baez, Carlos Correa, and they picked the suitcase that has Isiah Kiner-Falefa, who leads the league in names. So I think that he's there, and Josh Donaldson. They got the late Josh Donaldson and his $50 million contract. I'm sure you're elated.
I just had to record my Locked On Now, and I tried my hardest not to be a jackass, but I couldn't help it, and I had to be a jackass about it because I can't curse. I'm livid. I'm livid. I don't even know what's happening right now. Everything I see that keeps coming out is getting worse. Now we're paying $50 million for the corpse of Josh Donaldson. What on earth are they doing? And what's even funnier about this, I'm in a Slack with a bunch of friends who are Yankee fans, and we saw Falefa go to the Twins, and we're like, oh my God, thank God he went to the Twins so the Yankees won't get him. So that was our fault.
Yeah, pretty much. Do you what this kind of reminds me? I'm going to throw this to a horrible move the Red Sox made, but there was one year there was all these rumors that the Red Sox were going to sign Pablo Sandoval. Now, I had just been rooting for the Giants in that World Series with my dad, and Sandoval was beloved by Giants fans. But he's one of those players, he meant more to the Giants than any other franchise. And if you had only watched him in the postseason, you would be under the impression that he was a great player. He wasn't. He was a good player who rose to the occasion, especially in 2012 and 2014. And when the Red Sox were talking about signing him, I'm an atheist, and I was going to church every day lighting candles, doing anything I can to prevent the Red Sox from signing Sandoval. And when they signed Hanley Ramirez, I thought, oh, great. There, okay, fine. Hanley Ramirez I have no problem with, but that means they're not going to sign Sandoval. And in 3, 2, 1, they signed Sandoval. And 1 year he was with the Red Sox, he broke more belts because of his stomach than he acquired hits during the season. And I was hearing you say that reminded me of that. Like, okay, we don't have to worry about Kiner-Falefa being the shortstop. That's off the table. And now they can sign Carlos Correa or Trevor Story.
Either one of them. Just do something. Like, I'm sick and tired of Hal Steinbrenner and Brian Cashman pushing this narrative of we want to win. No, you don't. Because if you wanted to win, you would sign the people that would help you win. And you're not doing that. I can't. I cannot. My show is going to be it's just going to be this for a half hour.
Of course, Ethan is talking like, yeah, I'm a Pirate fan. Talk to me about not having an organization that wants to win. But
pardon me, my cat is walking in the shot
special
here.
Guest.
I have a special guest. Her name is Sweet Pea. She's just as upset as I am. No, I know.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I understand that other teams are going to be like, what are you complaining about? But I can complain about this because they keep saying the same BS over and over again, and it's just not happening. I mean, at least your owner's not saying, oh yeah, we're definitely trying to win. They're just constantly not doing anything to make the team better. Not that that's, you know what I mean, but it's just, oh God, I can't.
Oh, I mean, you hit it right on the head. And by the way, with you guys paying the Donaldson $50 million contract, one of the big things in the CBA a lot of people don't realize is, there was some good things that came out of the CBA, right, Sully and Stacey? Yeah, there were some decent things that came out of it. Josh Donaldson's going to be making $50 million. The Pirates' payroll right now is around 29 to 32. That's still a problem.
Yeah.
That's still a major problem. But there's a lot more other problems going on around the world of Major League Baseball other than the Pirates' payroll at the moment.
Stacey, I need to ask you this. I was really stunned that Urshela was put in the deal
I didn't
because
see that at first.
now Sanchez, who at one point looked like they were getting ready to make his monument, retire his number. I mean, the question was he going to be better than Berra as a Yankee catcher? And then now he was sent off to the Twins. That doesn't stun me. I mean, I think everyone kind of thought that that Sanchez was going to be included in any deal. Urshela really surprises me because he's a versatile player. Granted, he's not a great shortstop. He was a stopgap. I think he didn't
He's
have
better at third.
Yes, he's a much better third. And the thing that I thought, and you and I have talked about this, why acquiring one of the, I thought Corey Seager was going to the Yankees. I would have put money on that. I thought he was perfect swing for Yankee Stadium, World Series pedigree. I thought it was tailor made for the Yankees. That's if I had put money down, if I'd gone to Bet Online, who by the way is sponsoring this episode, I would have put money that Seager seemed like a no-brainer for the Yankees. But when he left, and then Baez and everything, you still had Correa, you still had Story, and I kept thinking of the Yankees infield that you would have Urshela, you would have LeMahieu. I don't see why they don't bring back Rizzo, but some first baseman of some sort with a solid everyday shortstop, whether it's Correa or Story, either one would do the job.
Right.
And would give the Yankees a tremendous amount of depth in that infield.
Yeah.
And versatility.
Right.
You don't get that with Josh Donaldson.
No. Also, you have the whole, after everything that happened between him and Garrett Cole thing last year, that should be fun when Donaldson has to go to Tampa to check in as a Yankee and, shave his face and cut his hair and all that stuff. I'm happy about that because that's going to be funny. But I haven't had enough time to really digest this, so I don't understand what they're doing. I really don't. Well, I do, but I don't.
Well, it was a shocking move because I just thought of all my joke and Stacey was on the show recently and we were kind of making fun of the whole Yankee situation. I really thought eventually Story or Correa was going to go to the Yankees, and especially when we're starting to hear things like there was a thing saying, well, if Correa signs a long-term deal, his previous agents will get a chunk of that. But if he signs a short deal and then goes to free agency next year, then Boris will get a huge windfall. And I heard that, and I thought, well, then he's going to the Yankees. Because he'll sign a one-year deal with the Yankees. They have what's his doodle on the farm. Who's the big prospect? Yeah,
Jason Dominguez too, but
he's too young.
Volpe is the big one that everyone's is that all of the John the Baptists are yelling, prepare the way for Volpe. I thought, well, then that's ideal. Correa comes in for 1 year, plays his heart out. Yankee fans will find it in their heart to root for him.
As soon as if the Yankees had signed him and he hits a home run on opening day against the Red Sox, they're not going to care about anything he did with Houston after that, because that's how Yankee fans are.
Didn't Yankee fans hate Johnny Damon? When he was with the long hair, the beard, hitting those 2 home runs off of Javier Vasquez in the year I'm not supposed to mention, and then he joins the Yankees.
Every effing time I'm on the show, you bring that up. I swear to God, I'm flying out to California, and I don't even drive. I'm gonna steal a car, find out where you live, and I'm gonna smack you.
There you go. And that smack will be brought to you by Built Bar. And Built Bar will give Stacey the energy to give me that smack across the face for always bringing up the 2004 World Series. It's that time of the year where a lot of us have New Year's resolutions. My resolution was to not mention that in front of Stacey. I've clearly broken that. But there are other resolutions we can have, like being healthy and eating your Built Bars. Do you have a Built Bar up there? What do you got? Oh, what flavor?
That's the ruby chocolate one that they sent us around Valentine's Day.
That's a Built Puff. My God, what is a Built Puff? I am unfamiliar with what a Built Puff is.
It's a protein-infused marshmallow, so perfect for the upcoming warm weather that we were supposed to have.
I hear they're fluffy and they're marshmallowy. But you know what? There's no way that those are covered in 100% real chocolate. They just couldn't do that.
They did.
They did?
Yeah, they did.
Well, what kind of flavors do they have? Any thoughts on the flavors?
I mean, peanut butter brownie, cookies and cream. I believe yours is. What is your favorite again, Sully? I always forget it.
Mine is the raspberry, but I think
There it is.
Stacey, you've got a what's yours again?
Oh, mint brownie.
Oh, your mint brownie. That's right.
Yeah.
They're so good. They're all so good. And the puffs have the cinnamon churro one, and they're so good. And you know what? I learned recently that candy bars are not good for you, that they're not healthy. That was part of my problem. Why am I not losing weight? I'm pounding candy bars like every day was Halloween. But if you go to the macros charts, and please do, you're going to be blown away. High protein, low calorie, high fiber, and low carb Built bars you'll find at Built.com. Most Built bars contain 130 calories, 4 grams sugar, 4 grams net carbs, 17 grams of protein. Compare that to a candy bar, which is worse. You've got all those great flavors. And Built bars, you know what they are? They're about the taste. Okay? What they say, we're going to make it taste good first, then we'll figure out how to make it healthy. I don't know how they do it. I don't care. They're that good. Do you know where you all should go? You should go to Built.com. Use promo code LOCK15. Get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCK15 for 15% off at Built.com. And let me just say one thing quickly. Thanks so much for making Locked On MLB your first listen every day. Make sure your second and third listens are Locked On Yankees and Locked On Pirates in any order. And then work on down to Locked On Prospects. Host Lindsey Crosby is our prospect encyclopedia. And he's going deep on the MLB stars of tomorrow. It's free and available wherever you get your podcast. Well, we are here in this crazy scrum of a podcast, which we're doing late at night here. I'm in the luxurious Locked On MLB studios in Pasadena, California. The exact address I am not giving to Stacey because I'm fearful for my life. But we're here discussing the bizarre trade. And then just going over a couple other moves that have going around. Former Twin, Nelson Cruz, looks like he's signing with the Washington Nationals.
Oh.
On a pretty hefty deal, by the way.
To
15 million guaranteed.
Yeah. So obviously the Nationals are taking their need to have a designated hitter in 2022 very seriously because they have Mr. Designated Hitter, the man who has replaced Edgar Martinez and Harold Baines as the guy he's just a DH. Don't even bother bringing a glove.
How many guys do you think are pissed now? Guys who were relegated to DH because they were older, but then couldn't play any longer than that because there wasn't a DH in the National League and there wasn't as many options for them to go to different teams. And they're probably thinking now, damn, if there was a universal DH maybe 10 years ago, I could have signed with this team or done this or played this much longer.
Yeah, well, this is we're going to see it's going to extend a bunch of careers. I think you're going to see it. Like Mike Napoli is probably going to dust off his uniform. I think he retired a couple of years ago, but he must be like, come on, Pirates, give me a shot.
I'm game, honestly. By the way, Sully, before you continue, I already tweeted that this tweet was so unintentionally funny, but the Yankees welcomed everybody to the Bronx, and Isiah Kiner-Falefa said, always wanted to be like number 2, let's go Yankees.
Oh, boy.
Great start for him. Great start for him. That's a great way to compare yourself already when you're walking into New York. He's going to
Well, no, he's not comparing. He just, he's saying that
he wants to be like him. Yeah.
He admired cheaters, and
Yankee
fans are going to eat that up. Please.
But we're assuming he means cheater. He could mean former utility player Wayne Tollison, who also wore number 2.
That's true.
We don't know for sure.
That is true. Could be Wayne.
He could be meaning Polaire, who wore number 2 his time. We don't know. So let's just pump the press there a little bit. A couple other. Meanwhile, Carlos Correa is still updating his LinkedIn page. Undoubtedly, he's going to sign a 1-year deal, and I'm starting to think. Now, I'm just saying this, Ethan. Just hang on for a second. I'm starting to think a team like the Pirates, like the Orioles, like the Mariners, teams who haven't been in the postseason recently, like Miami, who may be thinking, hey, we could have him for 1 year. And that could be the sort of thing to, I don't know, boost sales. Stacey and I were talking just when she was on last week that I think the Marlins should just go supermarket sweep every okay player to make sure that there's a serviceable major leaguer at every position, because they have a pitching staff that could really contend in a 12-team playoff format. I did playoffs.
Playoffs.
So I wouldn't be surprised if the Pirates, with that low payroll, okay, maybe not Correa, but maybe a surprise team to make a splash, if for no other reason, to try to boost sales and pretend that they're going to try to do something, and then maybe flip them for prospects in July. I mean, am I just trying to make you feel better about yourself?
I mean, if Carlos Correa signs to the Pittsburgh Pirates after you saying this, Sully, you're coming on my podcast immediately when it happens. But okay. Just with Bob Nutting being the owner, and I rarely say it on my own podcast because I hate talking about him, but I would just never see it happening in a million years. Now could I see, would it be fun to watch Correa and O'Neal Cruz play 2 or 3 months of baseball together? Yeah. It'd be great. A 6'7" shortstop and then a 7 WAR player probably playing second at that point. I'm game. Yeah. But I agree with you 100%. And I listened to that episode and I agreed with everything. When you have that good of a pitching staff down there in Miami, I mean, I'd be picking at everybody. I'd be like, oh, this guy wants $10 million, boom, go here. This guy wants $15 million, boom, go here. Like, that's what I would be doing the whole time. And I think that's a big reason why Jeter left, is because I think that's what he wanted to do. And for some reason, they're not doing it. And I feel bad, especially for Peter Pratt, because you see him, he's talking about the Pirates trading Brian Reynolds there. Said, not in a million years, pal. Not happening. Brian Reynolds is staying here until we trade him when we run out of options.
Another favorite of Stacey in a previous season got moved to the Twins, and that was Sonny Gray.
Yes.
Sonny Gray is, and that it's a really weird series of moves for Minnesota.
Yeah.
That they traded away the shortstop that they had just acquired. They shed the contract of Donaldson. They added Urshela, who I think will be a useful piece on the team. Who knows what will happen with Gary Sanchez? With maybe a change will do him good, as Elton John sang. And now you bring in Sonny Gray, who, I mean, he on his best years, he's a pretty good all-star caliber pitcher. And who knows? I mean, he may be a valuable pitcher for the Twins playing in a winnable American League Central.
Yeah,
true. Yeah. I would have liked to have seen Gray come back, because it's not the same pitching coach.
Yeah.
And I don't think Matt Blake would try and make him change his pitching repertoire and make him throw pitches he's not comfortable pitching, which is what Rothschild tried to do to him, and which is why he didn't do well with the Yankees. So anyway, but I saw a tweet, I don't remember who it was from, if it was Sherman, Heyman, or Nightingale, because everything was flying by in my timeline. But it looks like the Twins aren't keeping Gary Sanchez, and they might be moving him for someone else. So
all right, well, buy your Gary Sanchez Twins jersey now. It will be valuable. It will be really valuable.
The Yankees need a catcher, so maybe they'll get him back.
By the way, your former friend Josh Harrison, Ethan Smith, is off to the White Sox. The White Sox are making a flurry of moves. They signed Joe Kelly, former beloved, cute and cuddly Red Sox and Dodger, beloved in Houston. He's going to the White Sox to make their relief staff more colorful. They brought in Vince Velasquez. White Sox has also brought in right-hander Vince Velasquez, pitched for Philadelphia last year, and a couple other moves. There's some Kershaw re-signed with Los Angeles. Looks like Verlander is coming back to the to Houston. The Red Sox picked up Jake Diekman. I thought that was an interesting move. And Adam Ottavino is where did Ottavino go? He went to the Mets, but they also, the big Mets move was trading for Chris Bassett. Who I think Stacey is currently doing Madonna Vogue or something there right now. For those of you just listening, she just waved down a plane onto an aircraft carrier the minute I brought up Chris Bassett's deal to the from Oakland to New York. He was straight to New York. Thoughts, discuss, show your work.
Oh my God, I can't take it. The Mets are doing everything the Yankees should be doing. Why couldn't the Yankees
but yet somehow, Stacey, hot take, the Mets are still going to lose less games or win less games.
I would love that with every move that they made. No offense, but I would, just because that would be funny.
I love Ryan, but no.
Like, why couldn't the Yankees get Chris Bassett? I mean, they do need pitching. I don't know.
You know, they could have used Adam Ottavino. They could have used Vince Velasquez. Heck, they could have used Joe Kelly for that matter.
Well, apparently they looked at Rodon's medical and who else? So I don't know. God, this is going to be so much fun. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow.
Well, there's one thing that I think we can do is I think it's a surefire bet that all of New Yorkers are going to be loving the trade that brought in Josh Donaldson and who was the other one? Isiah Kiner-Falefa. I mean, why bring in Correa when you can bring in Isiah Kiner-Falefa? Why get the best when the 14th best is available? But you know what? That's what the game is. You got to take a chance. You got to roll the dice. You got to make a bet. And if you're going to make any bets, go to Bet Online, which remains the best spot for all your sports scores, podcasts, and news this season. From all the latest odds, contests, player props, Bet Online is the number one source for all your sports betting needs and info. It's not just basketball, which I didn't mention earlier. Bet Online is your continued source for all your sporting wagering information needs, including live betting and your favorite Las Vegas casino games. Head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends in action. Bet Online is where the game starts. Well, guess what? We got a scrum of people here, and why not just open it up even more? The last time I did a show, H-Town Wheelhouse showed up. And H-Town, how are you?
Well, right now, I'm on the proverbial cloud nine, but I don't know if I should be or not. I have had so many emotions. Like I'm currently not seeing a therapist, but I think after
we know
these first few, I probably need one after this lockout and what's going on. That, I've literally gone from Carlos Correa being a 0% chance coming back to Houston, because that's what all indications have been, because the separation of years, the separation in AAV, Jim Crane not willing to go beyond 7. But
separation of church and state. They're all these things.
Exactly. It has just been oil and water. And tonight we got a glimmer of hope. And I think it started with Buster Olney's tweet saying that, a 1-year deal, Boris would get all the money. The multi-year deal, his previous, agent would get most of the money. Again, Carlos, I've been reminded Carlos is the one that makes the decision, not the agent. But I'm shocked, and Stace, I've been watching this Yankees news drop like left and right, and this is the oddest amount of moves from Nelson Cruz to Gary Sanchez to Josh Donaldson that I think I've ever seen. And I'm like, have they been in a room plotting the weirdest, most insane things they can do to drive us crazy with our ball clubs? Because now we've gone to that. Because everyone's like, oh, the Yankees are going hard after him. The Yankees are going hard after Correa to Kiner-Falefa. What? And like Sully was saying, but like, I thought Correa was gone. I don't know. I'm thinking if I wake up tomorrow, Correa might have signed with the Houston Astros, and it might be a 7-year deal with an 8th, 9th, and 10th year option.
Wouldn't that be something?
Would be. I mean, for us, let me tell you, Houstonians, we've hated. Well, so I'm speaking for the millions that are listening, and the millions of Houstonians. It is just one of those things that we have wanted. We've even talked about, we'll build a statue. We'll help build a statue with Carlos Correa pointing to his watch as you walk into the home plate entrance of Minute Maid Park. if Jim Crane signs him.
Well, there you go. And I like the fact that you believe I get 1 million listeners on this show.
You do, Sully.
Think of the Built Bars we could sell with that kind of listenership. All right. Well, like, look at there's a weird. I mean, I now look at when you were on. I said that I believe that if Correa doesn't sign with Houston, I thought he was going to sign with Anaheim, just because I think that there's. They like to make splashes. They also like to do things that don't make 100% sense. The team desperately needs pitching because they have the reigning MVP and the presumptive MVP are on the same team. And yet, even if they had the expanded playoffs last year that they're going to have this year, the Angels still wouldn't have made it. So that's kind of sort of important, and no offense, Ethan, but it's important for the teams that miss the playoffs. It's important the Angels make the playoffs because they have the two marquee players that they can help market the game around, and they're playing foosball and playing golf while the playoffs have been going on, save for 3 games.
It's ridiculous. I've said it on my show. I actually spoke about this for 2 whole segments, and I'm a Yankee show, but it drives me nuts that Mike Trout, he's like one of the best players we've seen in a really long time, and you never see them because they're never in contention. So no one wants to show them. You don't see them on Fox. You don't see them on ESPN, maybe occasionally, but they should be on all the time, especially with both him and Ohtani. Ohtani is a freak of nature, and more people should watch him, and not just in an all-star game. It's ludicrous.
Yeah. For my basketball people, Mike Trout is the Damian Lillard of baseball.
That's a great call because Damian Lillard is phenomenal. Yeah.
But you never see him on national TV. They're never contending. They're never trying to spend. They're never trying to bring a superstar there. They bring one in Shohei finally, and then I always said this last year. If Trout never got hurt last year, I think they make it last year. Personally,
Trout was off to the best start of his career last year.
Yeah.
And he was gone a long time.
He only played 36 games.
Yeah.
He actually played more games in the COVID season than he did last year.
Yeah.
And the COVID season, he was phenomenal in the COVID season. Mm-hmm. And, and it's funny because I still think of Trout as being this kind of new young player. This is his 11th full season with the Angels. Mm-hmm. 11.
Yeah.
He's played longer with the Angels than Pujols played with the Cardinals. Okay.
Because, he came in, him and Altuve both came in the same year, correct?
I believe so.
So think about the trajectory of their careers. Had you put a Mike Trout with the Astros or another team that contended, or even the Dodgers or anybody who's had postseason moves, and you put someone like an Altuve over there, you wouldn't know who Altuve was, and everybody would know who Mike Trout is. I mean, it's amazing just how much of a chasm there is. Now, I have been told by people that are kind of, I guess, close to the situation that Carlos wants to sign with the winner. Okay, he wants to sign with the winner. So I don't think that puts the Angels. I don't think they're in winner category. What do you think about that, Sully?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Do you think money
who
talks?
Says I want to sign with a loser? Who says that?
Right.
With the exception of Zach Greinke. Zach Greinke was the only one ever to say, I don't know, I'll sign with the last place team if they offer the most money. That's why Zach Greinke was awesome. He was the only person ever to be on. Who's going to say, even A-Rod, and believe it or not, I've been an A-Rod defender. Even A-Rod, when he left Seattle, a team who, mind you, was 2 wins away from the World Series in 2000 and had a very, very good team. He said he said something along the lines of, the biggest thing is I want to be part of a winner and win a championship. And he signs with Texas. And, it was kind of, no one says, you know what, my most important thing is to be on a lousy team and be there in front of nobody.
I'm just saying, though, but of course, my rebuttal to that was, okay, but what winners are out there that are willing to pay him what he's wanting?
Well, evidently not the Yankees.
The Yankees are,
they're out.
I mean, yeah, the Yankees are, but this is what's interesting too. This means that Story is still out there.
Yeah.
Story. So if Correa returns to Houston, then Story will probably become a Cub. I mean, the Cubs
Or a
may pay
Cardinal.
Story,
Or a Cardinal.
or a Cardinal, or a
I
Cardinal.
think-
You
I
have
think
two
he- I
former
think-
Rockies in St. Louis.
Yeah, I think that you could have an infield that includes Arenado, Story, and Goldschmidt. Holy Toledo!
Yeah,
That's
that's pretty good.
that's almost the entire 2017 wild card game, which was between the Diamondbacks and the Rockies, right there. But yeah, I think that people forget Story. I mean, again, I'm being a little bit of a broken record as we're doing this Brady Bunch episode here. That I think that this move by the Yankees is strange. That you had two players who all they had to do was spend money, and instead they spent that money on Josh Donaldson, who I don't see where his look at Josh Donaldson, even just a couple of years ago, was getting MVP votes. He's still a decent player. I'm not saying he's trash.
He just
but
has to stay healthy. That's his problem.
yeah, he's had a hard time staying healthy. He's he's in his late 30s with injury issues.
Yeah.
And this is not the time, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, of the 90s and 2000s where players in their mid 30s suddenly found a new boost in life. I think it was from those Built Bar puffs they were having. But those days are over. And look at, I mean,
Are they though? Because guys were allowed to use steroids during the lockout because all that stuff was some guys may have.
They could have
comeback player of the year.
That's right. They could have hit a cycle or two.
Yeah.
Hey, I honestly,
I did.
I believe wholeheartedly
Look at that.
Look at those guns. Hey, this. So I really think that and without being too like, I mean, do we really believe that there aren't any players using steroids or performance enhancing drugs?
They're all
I'm pretty
clean.
sure.
They're all
I'm pretty sure they're not all clean.
They're
I
all
know
clean.
the NFL is about 30 to 40% of those jokers are using them, if not more.
70% of Locked On hosts
Baseball.
are on it.
Oh yes,
I'm on.
baseball
I'm on them.
though. Baseball can pick or choose who they want to bust for these things. I mean, they bust people for the right reasons, and they've gotten a couple big names. But it wouldn't surprise me if you had guys out there that were currently using. Guys, think about it. It is a sport that depends on performance, and as you age, your performance declines. And I'm actually not opposed to performance enhancing drugs in baseball. Most of the guys did it to help recover from injury. The problem was there was an overuse and abuse of it, and injuries went through the roof. When it's managed properly, if an athlete chooses to, it's an entertainment industry. Why not? My favorite player right there, Mark McGwire, he was helped by him. Now, he could hit bombs before he touched roids. So could Barry Bonds. But at the end of the day, we don't ever focus on the guy that hit 215 and 8 home runs who took steroids.
Well,
Performance enhancing drugs only enhance if your performance is already good. I mean, it just makes it better.
Well, I'm going to throw this to. We're going to wrap up soon here, but I want to throw this to Ethan right now. Ethan, you don't have a dog in the fight of Carlos Correa here. I want your take. We have a couple of players who are still out there. We haven't brought up Freddie Freeman, who has been, playing footsie with Los Angeles and possibly going back to Atlanta. We have Correa, who is an MVP candidate. And we have Story, who would be a wonderful, solid veteran to put in the middle of a contending team, especially one who has several young players that are trying to develop. So, Ethan Smith, I'm throwing it to you, man. Tell us where they're going.
I mean, at the end of the day, it would shock me if Correa doesn't go back to Houston at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Where else is he going to really go? I really thought the Yankees was the other one, and now that doesn't look like it's going to happen because there's no reason for them to do it now. There'll just be way too much of an abundance of stuff going on, and you're devoting $50 million to Donaldson already. So for Correa, it would surprise me if he didn't go back to Houston, honestly. Trevor Story, he could go anywhere. honestly. He's kind of the one where I think he could end up, whoever gives him the most money is probably where he's going. Maybe he goes back to Colorado. You brought up the Cardinals. That's an interesting spot, too. Maybe you get into some weird sign and trade deal where you trade Paul DeJong over there to Colorado and swap them, like swap the two in a way. I could see that kind of being a thing. And then you mentioned Freddie Freeman. I think he's going to be a Dodger. So I actually saw a tweet before we started doing this saying one of the big things with the Dodgers lineup right now is they have two bats that are left-handed. So Freddie Freeman would be the perfect guy to insert into that lineup, and they have the money. And then I think a lot of people also still forget that Nicholas Castellanos is still a free agent as well. He is still just kind of lurking in the shadows right now. Kenley Jansen, I also believe, is still a free agent, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. There are a lot of different guys that are still just kind of lurking in the shadows right now that haven't done anything.
Kyle Schwarber.
And Kyle Schwarber.
You know, who I think
Peterson.
Anthony Rizzo, who I think the Yankees should. I understand the hatred of Luke Voigt. I think bringing in Rizzo. I think Rizzo is perfect for the Yankees. I think he'd be a great player to have. He's great defensively. He comes up big in some games. You know, I think he
bats lefty.
He bats exactly. Everything about that is great. Oh, by the way, the Rockies signed Jose Iglesias, so I think that closes the door of Trevor Story coming back to Colorado.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, we've been a little bit of a broken record about why doesn't Miami sign some hitters to back up the pitch? Imagine Castellanos on that team. I mean, have a hitter like him and sprinkle a bunch of veterans around there. To me, look at the Marlins could be a playoff team. They have the pitching staff. Look at Stacey. Please take this the right way. I like the Marlins pitching staff better than the Yankees pitching staff.
So do I.
I like the Marlins pitching staff a lot better than the Red Sox pitching staff right now.
Their pitching staff is really good.
Yeah. And so if you put a mediocre offense with that pitching staff, they're going to win more games than lose, which with 12 teams in each league going into the playoffs, that's enough to, at least play some games,
Now, what if the Astros re-sign Correa, and because they need relief pitching, they go over the tax threshold and sign Kenley Jansen? I'm just saying that would be
just here for chaos
insane. That would be absolutely insane. I mean, I want Andrew Chafin personally. I think he's a better bargain for what they need. But can you? I mean, Kenley Jansen. I don't know what Kenley Jansen's asking or what his value is.
Here's where I'd be very nervous about Kenley Jansen, and I have to be real honest. Kenley Jansen last year had a fine season, obviously, and he's had a wonderful career. But when you start getting relievers flame out, and they go from elite to DFA really, really fast.
Unless they're named Mariano Rivera.
There have been a few freaks. Rivera was a freak.
Right.
I mean, you could throw Trevor Hoffman in that conversation because he had a nice long career. Billy Wagner had a very nice long career. But you could probably count, there's probably only been a dozen ever.
Yeah.
Like Bruce Sutter didn't have that long a peak. I mean, think about how someone like Jonathan Papelbon goes from being an elite closer to, God, we just got to get this guy off the team.
Choking Bryce Harper in the dugout.
Well, who ye without sin cast the first stone.
No,
but
how
fast Koji Uehara went from, oh my God, he's the best closer in baseball to, okay, nice to see you, Koji.
Now, could you possibly see Colin McHugh from Tampa come to Houston, H-Town?
So
wasn't he an Astro? Wasn't he a former Astro?
He was. Yeah. He pitched in the 2015 ALDS against the Royals when the Astros were 2 innings away from taking a commanding lead and beating the Royals when they won the World Series that year. Colin McHugh, they've had no conversations. And how do I know that? Because his wife tweets openly about his conversations with teams. And everybody from Houston says, y'all need to come back. And she's like, we haven't heard a thing. We would love to come back. And we've been adamant about wanting to be in Houston. Houston has shown no interest in Colin McHugh. And that to me is shocking because He did great things while he was here, and they maximized his performance. Why wouldn't you want him back, especially with JV on the mound, with LMJ not starting the season healthy and having to start a little
Justin
late?
Verlander. JV is Justin Verlander. For those
Sorry.
for those who don't know, JV is Justin Verlander, not junior varsity.
Everybody should know JV as Justin Verlander or Mr. Kate Upton.
Well, and also remember that Colin Mchugh last year was really good for Tampa.
Yes.
I mean, no matter if you like old-fashioned metrics, his ERA was 1.5. He struck out 74 batters in 64 innings and only walked 12. I mean, his whip was under 1. I mean, everything you wanted from a guy who was a reliever and spot starter with that crazy Tampa pitching staff, he did everything they asked for on that team, except pitch well against the Red Sox. And that everything fell into place. And the fact that he's, if he wants to go back to Houston, where, he was on a couple of he pitched well for them in the postseason for some of the years he was there. I don't understand why.
I don't either. Everybody in Houston wants him back. Like I think even the players want him back. I have no clue what the disconnect.
Why wouldn't the Yankees go for him? Why wouldn't the Yankees bring him on for the depth?
Because they're too busy taking on $50 million in Josh Donaldson.
Then why not the Pirates? You see what I'm doing? I'm trying to
see what you're doing.
playing Foursquare here.
Ethan, where did you say that you wanted Chris Bryant to go?
Seattle.
Oh,
that makes sense. Again, I'm just going to throw out every hitter to Miami first, and think about. But only we're going to wrap this up, folks, because this is episode
like 2
so
episodes.
long. I know this episode is now so long. It feels like it's directed by Snyder from the Justice League here.
It's the Snyder cut.
It's the Snyder cut
6
of this Locked On.
Of Locked On MLB.
But think about like someone like Bryant. If you're the Marlins wanting to get a veteran players there, you sign him. He can play third. He can play the outfield. He can play first. You can fit him into that team any way you want. Look, I'm just trying to get the GD Marlins into the playoffs because I want to see Don Mattingly finally make a World Series. Couldn't do it with the Yankees. Perfectly fit his career in between 2 World Series runs there. Actually, 3 World Series runs as a coach. Couldn't do it with the Dodgers. Left just before they went on a bunch of World Series runs. Let's do it in Miami. If anyone deserves at least one appearance in a World Series, it's freaking Don Mattingly. And this is coming from me. And I'm not being sarcastic at all.
I agree 100%.
Yeah. But you remember, I'm just going to bring this up as the memory of my dad when Mattingly was the manager of the Dodgers and the Giants and the Dodgers were going toe-to-toe for the division title one year. And my dad was saying, I'm thinking pretty good about my boys, meaning the Giants. And I said, Dad, well, you got to look out. Those Dodgers look pretty good. He said, I'm not worried about them. Do you know why? I said, why, Dad? Their manager is an idiot. And he was referring to Don Mattingly. My dad, for whatever reason, just was convinced that Don Mattingly was a rube. I don't know why. But that I can hear my father's voice there. But that being said, I don't agree with my dad in that. I actually think Don Mattingly's a pretty good manager. I think he's shown that with Miami. So I'd like to see that. But hey, look at I threw this out there to the Locked On group saying, hey, I'm going to record, and I just put the link out and said, anyone want to jump on board? And I honestly didn't know who was going to show up. I knew Ethan was the first to show up. So, and I said to Ethan, well, you and I can at least talk. Stacey shows up. H-Town shows up. Maybe some other people, I missed them. I don't know. But hey, let's go around the horn here. We have an infield here. This is a pretty decent infield. Stacey Gotsulias, tell people where they can listen to your show.
You can listen to my show everywhere. Podcasts are available. Locked On Yankees. You can tweet at us at Locked On Yankees, all one word. You can tweet at me at Stace Gotts. And, if you like 80s music, I tweet a lot about it on my personal account.
And by the way, on the personal account, as someone who does like 80s music, every once in a while, Stacey will go to I think it's the American Top 40 or something of that week and list all of the songs that were in the top 40 with the video on them. And boy, oh boy, when you go on those deep dives, and every once in a while I'll go like there was a few of them that made me go, I think it was Naughty Naughty by John Parr or something like that.
Right.
That maybe like there was, I can't believe I still have a brain cell that remembers that horrible song whose video was problematic.
That's
I
Lisa
think-
Rinna in that video with him.
I
by the
love
way.
that. I love that you knew the song, the video. He's making the car. Of course you do. You put it on your freaking site. So it's a really fun Twitter handle. Those of you who found it. Hey, Ethan Smith, who follows the 2023 World Series champion Pittsburgh Pirates on Locked On Pirates. Tell people where they can follow you, buddy.
Of course, you can follow me on Twitter at MVP_Ethan, where I will probably be talking about 5 different sports at a time in a 20-minute time frame over the next couple weeks because we have March Madness, NBA basketball, NHL hockey, spring training baseball, and NFL tampering starts today as well. So that'll be fun. So we have a fun week of stuff going on. But also, if you want to see mostly Pirates content, you can find me at Locked On Pirates as well. You can find this podcast on YouTube, Spotify, Odyssey, Google Play, and Stitcher, or wherever you find your podcasts. I don't know if you like radio still exist at this point, so maybe you'll listen to us on the radio.
All right, and H-Town Wheel also apparently appears on this program every week. Where else can they find you in your little man cave there?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on Twitter and Instagram, and at Stros411 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and the show at Locked On Astros. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook there. So find us wherever you get your podcast, audio and video. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check us out. We are your team every day. We're going to be praying and begging and wanting Carlos to come back.
All right. Well, hey, it's getting late here because my son is putting away the dishes. Hey, buddy, come and say hello to the good folks at Locked On. Here's my son, Matty.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello. Good job.
My son Matty's first appearance on Locked On MLB, and we're so proud of that as he's working on his Jim Morrison in Paris impersonation, as you can see. He's 6 years old. He's 6 years old, by the way. He's a very hairy 6 years old.
That's impressive.
Put the dishes away. All right, we're putting the dishes away here. This has been the 7th longest episode of Locked On MLB, and I don't care. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pod, same handle for Instagram. I'm your pal Sully, but Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. With Ethan Smith, H-Town Wheelhouse, and Stacey Gotsulias for this impromptu scrum of an episode. This is Locked On MLB for the 13th day or maybe 14th day of March 2021. Ethan Smith is doing Wordle. I'm your host, Paul Francis Sullivan. Please, please, please call me Sully.